don't let excitement overshadow common sense. That little extra effort is going to save you a world of trouble. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Jay Will, and we're back with another sync banger. Let's get into it. Now, sync licensing can be a complex maze of corners you have to duck around and try to figure out where the actual cheese is. But don't worry, today I'm here to help you dodge those dead ends, shining a light on some common pitfalls I see many music producers or indie artists make in general and how to avoid them. So stick around, today's video is going to be a game changer. But before we start, tell me in the comments if you've ever encountered some type of snag in your sync licensing journey. I'd love to help. It's literally what I do all day, every day. And if it's super common enough or gets enough likes, then we'll do a personal video on that specific problem or strategy that we can use to solve it. Back in my day, trying to figure out the business side of sync, finding out what music actually works and is built for sync, even just finding the right music libraries was very, very challenging for me. But without the joys of learning the hard way, let's jump into some common mistakes. And as we go through the basics, gradually we'll get into more and more complex problems so that you actually end up getting a sync license relatively quickly. First mistake I see all the time is understanding that your music has to be sync ready, which means it needs to be of a broadcast standard. It needs to be mixed and mastered. Before you start pitching anything, it needs to not be in the demo phase unless they specifically ask for it. This is the bread and butter of our industry, guys. You have to make sure that you have a finished product when it comes to pitching for sync. So picture this, you've been invited to a fancy black tie gala event, but instead of the formal attire that was required, you come in your cozy pajamas. Like, that don't work. Sure, you love them, they feel comfortable, but it's not the right fit for the occasion. This is the same when submitting our music to music libraries and sync agents. If it's not properly mixed and mastered, even sometimes when you feel emotionally attached to the demo, that's fine, but they don't care about it. They need something that's ready to go because they're normally always on deadlines. As soon as they start listening to it, if it doesn't sound like it's polished enough and ready to play in any professional setting, a television show, a blockbuster movie, a stadium event, this is what I mean by broadcast standards. So the solution, make sure it's professionally mixed and mastered before you start pitching. You can either hire an engineer, you can use products like the God Particle that can basically give you the mastering polish that you need. You have devices like Ozone and Lander that help as well as get it up to a certain standard if you're not a mix engineer yourself. I highly recommend that you learn how to do that because it's only going to make you a faster machine when it comes to making more music. Bottom line on this one, always dress for success. Put your best foot forward and you're going to multiply exponentially how many sync placements you'll get. Mistake number 2, and we actually just talked about this in our previous video. Go check that out here. And it's overlooking how important metadata is. Skimping out on metadata is like trying to mail a letter without an address on it. It's not going to reach its potential destination inside a music supervisor's hands if they don't know where to find it in a huge library of tracks. Mistake number 3 is expecting instant success. And I see this all the time with my own personal clients, music producers, and indie artists everywhere. Sync licensing is not a lottery where you just strike it big with one single pitch that you just threw out there. Okay? It's more like planting a garden. You plant your seeds, you put them in the ground, you put fertilizer, you water them, right? You put all this work in, and then what happens? What do you have to do? You have to step back and wait, because it's not just going to turn into a huge money tree by tomorrow. It doesn't make any sense. So just like with gardening, patience is key. And if you're just starting out, I totally understand it might feel like you're a fish out of water just because you're making pitches all the time and nothing just seems to be happening on the surface. But don't get disheartened, okay? This is normal activity and behavior. These music supervisors and sync reps have so many things going on, it's hard to kind of break through the noise, so to speak. Just remember that this is a long game and that every pitch you actually make, even though it might not seem like a big step, it's still a baby step closer to that sync deal that you're looking for. So here's how I like to navigate through that mistake. Always continue to adjust your expectations. Nothing is written in stone, or even after the ink is signed on a deal, sometimes with a sync licensing placement, it can retroactively be reversed after even it's supposed to be on broadcast. It's about consistently understanding what we can actually control, delivering high quality music, tailoring our pitches to make sure that it's built more for the specific circumstance on who we're pitching it to, making the right connections, and most importantly, never losing faith in the actual music that you make. There's a home for it, I guarantee it. Remember, patience and persistence are our allies in this marathon race. One bonus tip / mistake that you can look out for that I see people make all the time, and this is an absolute game changer, and that's not double checking your contracts. You wouldn't buy or rent a house without checking every nook and cranny, making sure there's no leaks in the ceiling, the faucets are squeaky. So why would you sign a contract without double checking and understanding every single line? Some artists like to dive headfirst into these kinds of things without understanding the terms thoroughly, and it leads to messy situations every time. Your solution to this is to just always double check the writing. If something seems confusing or suspicious even, don't be afraid to ask questions. And if you don't trust the publisher's answers, you can always verify them with maybe running it through ChatGPT, having it retranslate the legalese into more layman's terms, or obviously the smarter option and idea is to just hire a music entertainment lawyer because they see these kinds of contracts all the time. Remember that the devil is in the details, so just don't skim over them. Make sure you're going through them very meticulously so that you can protect your music and your rights. I know it's super exciting to finally land a sync rep deal or get a placement. That's totally fine, I understand. But don't let excitement overshadow common sense. That little extra effort is going to save you a world of trouble. It's like proofreading a text message before you send it to your crush. One wrong word could change literally everything. There's our quick guide for sidestepping and dodging common mistakes that happen to everybody in sync licensing. If you found this video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and check out this video to understand why metadata is so freaking important.